dates to give anyone yet, but something to look out for over the next few years.
Well, let's see. Now you've got some great reviews here. I mean, I'm seeing people that are very happy with your book. Some of those are Betches, Bustle, Hello Giggles, Jessica Knoll from the New York Times. Let's see. Janelle Brown, Joe Piazza, and Camille Perry. These are some rather prominent people in the writers' circle. I think that you've done well. How do you feel when you hear or you read a review that, well, like Joe, she says a compulsively readable journey into the dark corners of memory. BARTZ has crafted a terrifying and delicious narrative in the vein of Gillian Flynn and Paula Hawkins. What does that mean to you when you hear that or you see that?
It's really an indescribable feeling. This is a book that I started working on in 2014. And so to see it come out into the world 5 years later was frankly terrifying. I mean, this is something I poured my heart and soul into, and I just didn't know how it was going to be received. And so to receive feedback like that from authors I really admire, and to be, mentioned in the same breath as the Gillian Flynns and Paula Hawkins of the world, was just incredibly validating and exciting, and just sort of gives me a shot in the arm to keep doing this and to keep writing. And of course, the way that human brains work, the one, mean Goodreads review that someone tags me in on Twitter sticks in my memory a little bit harder than sometimes the People magazine review where they call it, a nerve-wracking debut with a accomplished debut with a nerve-wracking finish and things like that. But, the lows are low too. But the fact that it's been generally pretty well received is just so exciting and makes me feel like I'm kind of on the right path to keep writing thrillers, which is what I want to do.
It's very encouraging, to say the least.
Yeah.
When did you get to see your first review?
So my first professional review came almost exactly a year ago. I think it was October. It was the very end of October last year, and it was in Publishers Weekly, and they called it accomplished and said something like, thriller writers will be eager to see more from this talented new voice, or something like that.
Wow.
And it was, thank you. And it was just such a relief, because that the reviews are coming, and again, you don't have control over them. They essentially come down to, what does this one person who was assigned your book think of it? And from there, I was super lucky to have the news get better and better. It got starred reviews in Library Journal and in Book List, and so the reviewers seemed to keep liking it, which felt really awesome, obviously. But yeah, I remember I was on vacation and got Wi-Fi. I was in Fiji, of all places, and got Wi-Fi, and my publicist had forwarded it to me. And I was on a solo vacation and had no one to scream to, and just let out a little scream in my own hotel room.
Well, there's something to be said for that, because a lot of times what happens is if you scream in front of friends, there's always going to be somebody in the crowd that's got something to add. Mm-hmm. And if you get to do it by yourself, that one sweet, delicious moment is all yours.
Yeah. Delicious is kind of the word that comes to mind for me too. It was this feeling that was entirely mine, and it was like, you know what? This accomplishment is entirely mine. I sat in front of my laptop with no one making me, and I wrote this book, and I, really was able to savor it on my own. And then maybe 10 minutes later, I put it on social media, and then everyone's,
and then
everyone's shrieking and writing and commenting and liking it. So it was savored. It was a solo accomplishment, for a few minutes at least.
Forgive forgive me. I've got a dry throat. Hang on.
No, that's okay.
Sorry for the pause.
No, that's okay.
You're about my 5th interview today, so.
Oh my gosh, that's so much talking.
It is. That's surprising for me. All right, let's go back to, we were talking about how exciting it is to get your first review. Mm-hmm. When you saw the other reviews come out, and I know they come out sort of as a string, so, they're not all the same day, they're not all the same time. Is it like another shot in the arm when that happens for you?
It is. I mean, what I've learned about publishing is that it is such a roller coaster, and everyone warns you about that beforehand, but it's still, you can't really prepare for what a roller coaster it is. And so, there's these super high highs, and then there's low lows that, of course, you're not trying to focus on, you're not telling everyone about, and you're not, trying to fixate on the fact that you thought maybe you would get X and then didn't. But the good reviews that came in definitely felt like a shot in the arm to keep working and to not stay too fixated on whatever didn't happen, or on, the more negative feedback that was coming in different ways. And, so it's a roller coaster no matter what. And I feel super grateful that on the whole, it was well received, and, my publisher seemed happy, and it seemed like a really kind of great debut that most importantly, allows me to keep writing thrillers. And like, the goal is to just keep doing this. And so I'm grateful that the first book was received well enough that I get to.
All right. I see on here that you have something special coming in the near future. Tell us about that.
Sure. So my second book, which is called The Herd, is coming out in March 2020. I'm very excited about it. It is also a thriller, and it's set in an exclusive all-female co-working space in Manhattan. And so I know those are sort of popping up all over the co-working spaces that are exclusively for female-identified individuals. And it's told from the alternating perspective of two sisters who have very different worldviews, and they're sort of thrust into a mystery when the enigmatic founder of this co-working space goes missing the night of a glitzy event. And it was just so much fun for me to write. It also sort of goes deep into a social milieu that I found fascinating. So very different from Calhoun Lofts and the World of the Lost Night, but also sort of close-knit and closed door. And that one is coming out in March. And so we're just beginning to gear up for, sending advanced copies out into the world, and starting to figure out how we'll be launching that book.
Now, if anybody wants to go and look for your books, where would you send them?
So the most impactful way to pick up a new book is to support your local independent bookseller. I love independent bookstores. They are, beacons of the community. So that's a great way to get it. And you can always request it from them. And if they don't already have it, they will order it for you. But The Lost Night is also available anywhere books are sold. So Barnes & Noble, Amazon, whatever you sort of prefer for getting your books. And The Herd is also available for pre-order at all of the usual spots. And it's available for pre-order at those indie booksellers as well.
That is awesome. Do you have a website that people can go look at?
Yeah, absolutely. People can go to ANDREABARTZ.com. That's ANDRA. Excuse me, can I spell my own name? ANDREABARTZ.com. And I've got more information on both of those books, and on the the TV option, and all sorts of good stuff there.
That's awesome. You've done a wonderful job with your first book, and I wish you the best success with your second book and your TV show. Will you be at the Miami Book Fair?
I absolutely will be at the Miami Book Fair. So I would love to, meet some readers and talk books with some literary lovers in Miami.
We will certainly be there doing interviews up in the dean's office. So I hope that we can cross paths while you're there. Maybe you'll sign my book.
Great. I would absolutely love to. I look forward to seeing you there.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining us today. You've been listening to Society Bites Radio with your host, Kate O'Neill, and this has been Andrea BARTZ' The Lost Night, a novel. Until next time, keep reading.
Thanks for coming in. See you tomorrow. Remember, the topic is always hot. And oh hey, don't forget your change.